Over the last couple of episodes, we've talked about what modern life is doing to the human mind. Too many choices, too much information, too much stimulation, too much input without enough recovery. And for a lot of people, those conversations created a moment of realization. Not something is wrong with me, but oh, my brain and nervous system are overloaded, and that awareness matters. Eventually, the question becomes, okay, but now what? How do we actually recover clarity in a world constantly competing for our attention? How do we calm the nervous system, reduce the noise, and hear ourselves clearly again? Because our goal is not to escape from modern life. The goal is learning how to live inside of it without constantly losing yourself in the noise.
Every lesson is a lyric in the universal song. Oh, the lessons of the journey, I weave them in my song.
Welcome back to Lessons of the Journey, your Real Life Playbook. I'm Coach Nicole, and I'm here with Coach Jen. In our last two episodes, we talked about decision fatigue, choice overload, and information overload. We talked about what happens when the brain is exposed to nonstop stimulation, nonstop input, and too many competing demands for our attention. And today we want to move into solutions, not unrealistic solutions, not fix your entire life overnight solutions. We are not into those, but practical ways to create more steadiness, more regulation, and more clarity. Because modern life probably isn't slowing down anytime soon. Technology isn't disappearing. Information isn't disappearing. So the question becomes, how do we protect ourselves mentally and emotionally inside of that reality? And honestly, I think that's what a lot of people are craving right now. Not more information, but more peace inside their own mind.
Oh, big deep breath into that one. One of the biggest shifts people need to understand is this. You cannot continuously flood your mind with stimulation and expect clarity to naturally emerge. That is not how the brain works. And as we've talked about in the previous episodes, most people are now living in an environment of constant mental consumption. We have notifications, content, opinions, news, entertainment, advice. Our brains rarely get a true pause anymore. And eventually, all of that noise starts blending together. Not because we are weak, but because our nervous system was never designed for nonstop informational stimulation without recovery. And one of the hardest things about modern life is that overstimulation has become normal. People now think that it is normal to constantly check your phone, multitask all day long, consume nonstop, and never really let your brain settle. But your nervous system still feels all of that. And eventually the symptoms show up. Brain fog, irritability, emotional exhaustion, indecision, feeling mentally full all the time. And many people start blaming themselves instead of recognizing the environment they're functioning inside of. So this episode is about recovery, not perfection, recovery.
Stop talking to me directly. Yeah, I do all of these things. Jeez. So let's start with the most immediate thing people can do. First, regulate the body. Because when the nervous system is overloaded, the brain becomes much less effective at focusing, emotional regulation, perspective, and decision making. And people constantly try to think themselves into calmness, analyze themselves into clarity, or research themselves into certainty. I'm definitely not talking about myself here. Meanwhile, their body is still in a heightened stress state, and the body always influences the mind. This is why physiological tools matter so much. Things like breathing, grounding, slowing down physically, movement, and orienting to our environment. These are not small tools. They are foundational tools. Because when the body settles even slightly, the brain becomes more capable of clear thinking again. And honestly, many people don't even realize how activated they are anymore because they've lived that way for so long. It's just become the norm. Mental tension starts feeling normal. Hypervigilance starts feeling normal. And constant stimulation starts feeling normal until the body finally says, I cannot sustain this pace anymore. And regulation isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming more intentional instead of constantly reactive. I have started a practice in my house that is so touching on this. I tell Tim, I need you to hug me every morning. It's just a hug. But what I've noticed is we hug each other until both of us have relaxed.
Ah, yes.
That just happened naturally. We didn't talk about that, but it's just we take the breaths until we feel each other's body relax. And it feels so calming. Maybe takes a minute and a half. It's crazy.
I love this. That's actually a thing. The Gottmans talk about it. It's the 6-second kiss or the 30-second hug. And it's the exchange and the release of the cortisol, the tension, the stress, where you're literally in that moment co-regulating. Yes, it's nuts.
It's so grounding. I almost feel like all of our negativity just goes out through the bottom of us and into the earth. And I'm not that metaphysical, but that's what it feels like.
And you didn't know that was a thing, but you figured out that it's a thing. Yes, it's been studied. It's an actual thing, Nicole. You're doing the thing.
Organically.
Yes, that's good stuff. Let's talk about breath for a minute. I think that so many of us forget that this is the one thing we are required to do in life. My best friend back in California, I swear her entire job in my life was just to show up and remind me to breathe. She'd be like, Jen, take a breath. I'd be like, oh, I am holding my breath. This very much was me like, breathe. And we forget how necessary it is and how we can be intentional. Can we practice something simple?
Yes, please.
It's just very practical. If you can, put both feet on the floor and relax your jaw. And see if you can drop your shoulders slightly. And now we're going to inhale through your nose for 4. And now we're going to exhale slowly for 6. Inhale through your nose for 4. And now we're going to exhale slowly for 6. Inhale for 4. And exhale slowly for 6. Let's notice what is happening. Maybe your breathing slowed slightly. Maybe your chest softened. Maybe your thoughts got half a step quieter. All of this matters. What's important is understanding this is not magic. It's physiology. You are sending your nervous system signals that it is safe enough to settle. Most people wait until they're completely overwhelmed before trying to regulate themselves. But clarity is built through small interruptions of stress throughout the day. This 30 seconds that we just took breathing, that matters. One conscious breath matters. A pause before reacting matters. Those small moments start retraining your nervous system over time.
Any kind of breathing is wonderful. I learned this many years ago and I don't incorporate it enough. I like that you exhaled for 6 because it's that exhale. When you think you can't exhale anymore, you let out that stale air that sits in your lungs. I feel like that gives me so much energy. Thank you for doing that.
Breath is so powerful.
It really is.
And the reverse matters too. If you're trying to hype yourself up, if you're trying to get ready for something, you breathe in for longer than you breathe out. Like Nicole pointed out, we breathed in for 4 and out for 6. A traditional relaxation breathing technique is going to have you breathing out longer than you're breathing in. If you forget the 4 and 6, you can do it for 4 and 7. It doesn't really matter as long as you're breathing out longer than you're breathing in.
It will relax you. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. You exhale until you think you can't exhale more, and then you just exhale the rest. And then you go, oh my gosh, there was more air in there. And how long has that been sitting in there? It feels so refreshing.
Yeah. I always look for where it's trapped. So you very intentionally put your, oh, it's there. I have more there, and it's going to come out.
Get it out.
Yeah.
You can tie something to a breathing, like every time you run to the bathroom, what if you intentionally breathed through that cycle instead of playing on your phone?
So much. Don't take your phones into the bathroom, folks. You know
Yes.
what I just learned? And I loved this. We had our parent-teacher conferences with my 4-year-old, and I did not know that they did this. And my 4-year-old was doing it, but I didn't know what he was talking about. And she pulled it all together for me. She said that when they practice breathing for the kids, they have them visualize, smell the flower. Now blow out your candle.
Oh, that's cute.
If you need a visualization to help you with this, there you go.
Another incredibly important strategy is movement.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I really want our listeners to understand. Movement is not just physical health, it's mental regulation. A lot of people are trying to think their way through stress while their body is holding enormous amounts of tension and activation. And movement gives the nervous system somewhere to put that energy. Research consistently shows movement helps reduce stress and anxiety and improves mood regulation. Even short periods of movement can create noticeable shifts. And many people underestimate how mentally restorative simple movement can be because we associate exercise mostly with fitness goals. But movement helps clear cognitive buildup too. And we're not just talking about going to the gym. We're talking about walking. We're talking about stretching. We're talking about mobility work. Getting outside for 5-10 minutes can be so restorative. Sometimes the mind clears not because you found the perfect thought, but because your body finally got to move.
Mm-hmm.
And this is especially important now because modern life is incredibly sedentary while simultaneously mentally overstimulating. So the brain is overloaded, but the body often has nowhere for that activation to go. And movement helps complete that stress cycle. Even 10 minutes matters. A walk without your phone matters. Going outside matters because sometimes clarity starts physically before it starts mentally.
So much yes. I used to be, you've heard me say this before, a professional ruminator. I would just be in the same place with the same thoughts running through my brain. And I somehow figured out after way too long that literally moving my physical location changes these things. Instead of sitting on my couch ruminating, I'm going to go to the beach and ruminate. Guess what? Can't ruminate at the beach. Can't do it. Too many other things are going on. I didn't actually go for a walk at the beach. I literally just moved my butt from my couch to the beach.
Yeah.
And it changes everything. It's the physical location even. Would a walk have helped? Would have been even better. But the actual ability to just move yourself away from the place that is overstimulating you really can help.
Well, porch swings used to be a thing. Just being outside changes everything. I am very much a person who needs to get that sunlight on me.
Yes, I often say that I am solar powered. Yes. This next part, y'all, tune in. Regulating your nervous system matters. Yes, but it's a big but. We also have to stop constantly recreating the overload. One of the biggest ways we do that is through nonstop consumption. You've noticed Nicole and I both said, put your phone down. Don't take it into the bathroom. Don't take it on your 5-10 minute walk. And you probably heard us talk about in the previous episode, modern culture rewards constant input. But the brain needs integration, not just intake. And integration requires space, stillness, pauses, reflection. Because if your brain never gets a chance to process, it just accumulates. And accumulation without integration eventually starts feeling heavy. This is why so many people feel mentally full all the time. Too many tabs open mentally, too much information without enough meaning, too many unfinished thoughts. And this might be one of the biggest modern traps. People keep consuming because they think the next piece of information will finally create clarity. It's going to be the next podcast. It's the next video. It's probably that next strategy I haven't heard about yet. Meanwhile, your brain never gets enough silence to actually integrate anything deeply. And eventually, even helpful information starts feeling overwhelming because there's no space around it anymore. So one of the healthiest things people can start doing is intentionally reducing unnecessary mental traffic. Less scrolling, less reacting, less constant stimulation, and more moments where your brain can actually breathe.
Love that. So much of this is muscle memory. We have to interrupt the muscle memory. So if it is your phone, even changing where you store your apps, I'm not even saying get rid of them, but move them to the last page. So you have to scroll through a couple pages and go, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Or setting your phone somewhere else, or putting it in a drawer for the day, or even for a couple hours. Oh yeah. So many things we can do. One of the simplest ways to create that space is actually writing. And we're not talking about perfect writing. We're not talking about deep journaling every day. Just getting things out of your head, because thoughts feel much heavier when they stay abstract and unprocessed. We talked about this 3 episodes ago. Writing creates structure. It slows the mental loop down, and it helps separate facts, fears, assumptions, and actual next steps. Sometimes clarity comes from finally seeing your thoughts outside your own head. Because when everything stays internal, the brain keeps trying to hold all of it simultaneously. And that takes a lot of energy. So your brain feels crowded. Try asking yourself this: what is taking up the most space in my mind right now? Then write without editing. No performance, no trying to sound insightful, just honesty. Because clarity often starts with externalizing what's been internally spinning.
I noticed that too. I used to keep a running to-do list in my brain, and then I would wonder why I would have so much trouble falling asleep at night. And a long time ago, somebody made a suggestion: just keep a little pad of paper next to your bed, and whatever is going on, just write it down. Because now you don't have to worry about remembering it in the morning. It's out somewhere. Notice I said a pad and a paper, not the notes app on your phone. Not that that doesn't hold value or a place in your life. And we don't want the light on our face. So there are ways to help us get it out that isn't re-involving the stimulus that we're trying to avoid.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is where our values become incredibly important, because values help reduce mental traffic. They just do. And if you don't know what matters to you, everything competes equally for your attention. Every opinion feels relevant. Every opportunity feels urgent. Every notification feels important. And that creates noise. Values create filters. They help you decide what deserves your energy, what aligns, what doesn't, and what no longer needs your attention. This might be one of the most overlooked parts of mental clarity, because clarity is not just calming the nervous system. It is reducing internal conflict. A lot of mental exhaustion comes from trying to move in too many directions at once. Part of you wants peace, part wants approval, part wants comfort, part wants growth. And without clear values, every part keeps fighting for control. But when your values become clearer, decision-making becomes quieter. Not always easier, but quieter. And when your internal world becomes more aligned, that mental noise decreases naturally. Not because your life got quieter, because you got clearer.
We also need to talk about protecting attention intentionally, because your phone is not neutral. Modern technology is designed to capture and hold attention, and every interruption creates cognitive switching. Every check pulls your brain somewhere else, and eventually attention becomes fragmented. We talked about that in the last episode. And one of the hardest things about modern digital life is that people rarely experience uninterrupted attention anymore. Even small pauses get filled instantly. We're standing in line, we check the phone. We're waiting somewhere, we check the phone. Sitting quietly for a moment, we check the phone.
Yeah.
Why do we always reach for stimulation? And over time, the nervous system becomes conditioned to that constant novelty and interruption. That's why we reach for stimulation. Not because it's good for us, but because it becomes a habit. So one of the most practical things people can do is to reduce unnecessary interruptions. Turn off non-essential notifications. I am always amazed when I hear that there are people that do not have quiet time on their phone.
Yeah, I know that exists.
And people will say, oh, but I have to have so-and-so be able to get a hold of me in case of my kids. I'm like, yeah, your favorites can call through to you during that uninterrupted time. I just don't understand that we all deserve an uninterruption time. Create intentional check times, times when you specifically check your phone. Protect the first and last moments of the day from constant input. Yeah, I got to do that one. Because if your brain starts and ends the day overstimulated, your nervous system never fully settles. This doesn't require perfection. It requires awareness, intentionality, realizing first and foremost that your attention is valuable.
Oh.
I will say that I really love having a watch connected to my phone because I never have to turn on the volume on my phone, ever. Also, if you're not in my contacts, you don't ring through. You'll leave a voicemail and I'll check it when I want to, because that ding, 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 or whatever sound you have really messes with your nervous system. So my phone ringer is off all the time. My phone never rings out loud. My watch will tell me if I have a call from somebody who's in my contacts or a text, and that's it. I don't have to be alert to that sound. I really appreciate that. And quiet time.
It has to matter to you. And there's so many people that like to argue with me for their limitations. Well, I can't, Jen, because I'm in sales. I have to always be available. Are you kidding me? If you're any good at sales, you should not be available. Let's reconstruct that one in your mind. What? Yeah. Well, every email that comes in, I have to respond to. Oh, goodness. What would it look like if you created time in your day for that specifically? No, I can't function that way. You can if you want to. Why do people go to coaches? Because we go, oh, I hear you saying this. Is that what you said? Yeah. How do you feel about it now that you heard somebody reflect it back to you? Oh, that's not okay. That's the getting it out.
Yes.
Yeah. I am the perfect one to talk about this because sleep and recovery, y'all, we cannot talk about mental clarity without talking about recovery, especially sleep, because our brains do an enormous amount of processing, emotional regulation, and nervous system recovery during sleep. When people are chronically sleep deprived or overstimulated late into the night, everything becomes harder. Focus, patience, clarity, more difficult. And a lot of people are trying to force clarity out of an exhausted nervous system. That is not sustainable. Your brain needs recovery, not just productivity, not just optimization, recovery. And modern culture glorifies constant output. Meanwhile, people are mentally exhausted and wondering why they feel disconnected from themselves. The nervous system was never designed for endless output without replenishment. So protecting sleep is not laziness. It's nervous system care. Some people do not need more self-improvement strategies right now. They need deeper recovery. Y'all, get some sleep. I feel physically ill, sick, when I do not get enough rest, when it's been a busy week. I feel physically ill, like, oh, I'm catching a cold. Oh no, it's just that Jen hasn't been getting enough consistent rest.
Absolutely. It's one of the reasons I love my watch too, is because I can see how many times I woke up in the middle of the night. And it's almost a game for me. I use that information because I want to sleep as soundly as I possibly can.
Yes.
It's a goal for me.
Yep.
Crazy. So if we pull all of this together, the goal is not to eliminate every stressor from life. I mean, yes, we would love to. I would love to, but the goal has to be realistic once.
What kind of growth happens without stress?
We may not like it, but it's true. The goal is to stop living in a constant state of internal overload. And that happens through intentional practices. It's regulating the nervous system. It's reducing unnecessary input. It's protecting attention. It's also moving the body, creating space for integration, clarifying values, and prioritizing recovery. And not perfectly, but consistently.
That's it.
Many people hear conversations like this and immediately think, I need to overhaul my entire life. Okay, that sounds like something I would say.
I was going to raise my hand.
No. Start small. One boundary, one pause, one breath, one less notification, one evening without constant input. Small shifts matter because small shifts repeated consistently start changing the nervous system's baseline. And maybe the biggest shift is actually realizing this. Clarity is no longer automatic in modern life. It has to be protected intentionally.
Boom, mic drop.
So true. I'm going to start with one of my takeaways is that I really have to practice what I preach, which this comes to the coaching things. Smaller, smaller, smaller. The what is the one thing you can change that's tiny. Mm-hmm. It's very simple. It's taking that one clear breath in the morning in the mirror and then just integrating that, seeing how it feels. It's just taking that small thing and making it happen. And without recovery, you will never be optimized, no matter what you do. No matter how many energy drinks you drink, the body needs recovery, and it's the only way to really, truly be optimized.
Yes.
And reducing internal conflict. What a great concept. And values are the way to do that. I love that. Those are probably my biggest takeaways, although there was like 20 more because
I know
this is so timely.
Well, and it's a very general, important thing. All humans need this information. Oh, I forgot that breathing was so important. I'm going to sit here and do that just very intentionally. Not while looking at my phone. And we do this. We go, oh, I got an app. It's a meditation app. So I'm going to pull up the app on my phone and I'm going to place it right here. And then I'm going to meditate. But something's happening in the app and I'm going to open my eyes and look. I'm not going to just be here with my brain. I'm going to pay attention to other stuff that's going on. Guess what? You don't need the app. You just sit there.
Yeah.
We think we don't have 1 minute. So often I get that with my folks that I work with is, okay, let's take a minute and breathe. And I have timed it. We've done a box breathing. We've done the 3 in, 3 out, 4 sixes. Literally, it takes a minute. And why do we think we don't have that minute in this world? It's because of all this input.
Yeah.
It's because we've been trained to think that we don't have that minute. It's because we think we have to be available. Oh, look, I see a call coming and I have to pick it up. I have to respond to that text. Take a beat. 1 minute. It's not going to crush anything except for helping you feel more regulated as you approach the things that are in front of you. I just think that this is such an important conversation. And if y'all weren't doing one of these things, even if it's just put your phone down for 60 seconds, we're building that muscle. Put it down the next day for 90 seconds. And then maybe you can reach 2 minutes the day before. We're not talking about perfection, Nicole. And I continue to say that. It's how can we build this muscle to get stronger? And it's just intentional little moves throughout the day that helps us get there.
I agree. The society rewards stimulation is such a factual statement. As much as I wish society would reward recovery, I don't know if it will, but I go back to the statement, be the change you wish to see in the world. So I have to reward my own recovery. I have to say, good job. You took a breath.
So
sounds
much.
Silly, but seriously, that's what we have to do for ourselves.
I really think that's part of the science behind the fake it till you make it. It's I took that breath. I'm going to intentionally do it because it's not natural or normal in my life. Guess what? You do it enough that one day you forget that breath. You're like, oh, I missed my breath.
Yeah.
Thinking back, I feel really good when I take those breaths. I want to make sure to set that intention so that I'm not forgetting it. Because when your nervous system starts regulating, the opposite, the thing you used to be living in, doesn't feel good anymore.
Yeah. And if we haven't laid it out plainly enough, the secret you're looking for to make your life better is to breathe, is to recover. It's not a secret. You all knew this already.
Yeah.
It's to get outside and take a walk. You knew this already. But if you still find yourself searching for the one thing, it's these things.
Yeah.
That's it. And you
That's
know
it.
it already. Just do it.
Just do it. Okay. Oh, good stuff.
We stole that from Nike.
Okay. Along the lines of this series, Nicole, here's your question.
Okay.
What is one thing that you have had to unlearn that made your life better?
What I had to unlearn was that I am not the center of the universe. I am the center of my universe, but the center of the universe for everyone else is them. As a child, you just kind of think the world revolves around you, and learning that it's not about you. Most of the things that every other human on the planet does is not about you.
Yep.
Even the people around you. And learning that has been the most valuable lesson that I've unlearned.
So good.
Not in a self-centered way, but just learning and understanding, hey, this is about them. How can I be there for them?
Yeah. Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
I have one child, 6 years old, and from infant into adolescence, there's these moments right around 6, 7, maybe, where things aren't cute anymore. They used to be cute because you were little and you just didn't know any better. And then all of a sudden, one day, it's not cute anymore, but nobody told you that. Yeah. And people start responding to you differently. It sounds harsh, but my mom would go and say, hey, listen, that's not cute anymore. That's not going to be the way that things are going to work anymore. And there's a big thing at 6, maybe 7 years old where you're like, wait, but it was cute last year. People aren't responding the same anymore. And how come? I think that it's exactly what you're talking about, that, oh, it used to be all about me, and now it's how I relate to the world. That is so powerful, Nicole. Great answer.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you're right. I see that. I've got a 4-year-old granddaughter, and then I've got a 9-year-old granddaughter. And the 9-year-old is learning that the world doesn't evolve around her. And she has to be understanding of other people. If the 4-year-old does the things, you're kind of like, oh, it's sassy, but it's cute. And I always say to mom, that's probably what you don't want her to do, but we like it because it's cute. And she's not going to do it forever. You're right. We learn some of those things on our own through the process of getting older, but not all the things. That's a good point. I have to keep that in mind. All right, Jen, do you consider yourself to be an empath? And let me clarify. So an empath is someone who goes beyond normal empathy, which is just feeling for someone, by actually absorbing and physically feeling the emotions or physical symptoms of others.
No. On purpose. And I was so clear on that one. You hear me? No. Not that I am not highly sensitive, because I am in my own bubble. I, especially in coaching, have found that it doesn't serve my interactions with anybody, especially my children, but very much also in my coaching, that I take on the energy. It doesn't serve my intention for the interaction, if that makes sense, especially in my kids, because I could just be like, oh my God, I could lose myself in that. I don't think I would be able to then help move beyond it, help provide clarity surrounding the situation if I were like even physically in the symptoms of others. Now, I do know some highly sensitive people who naturally absorb those experiences. I am not. And I actually unintentionally have built that on purpose. I think part of me got it from my mom, who was very militant in the at-home daycare. It's like herding cats. You kind of have to, like, you can't really let too much affect you all at once. So I grew up in that. It was not necessarily great. Whereas now in my older age, raising children, I'm trying to understand how to even understand my own feelings, let alone those of anybody else. But no, I certainly would not call myself an empath, being that I'm not a highly sensitive person and I'm not going to absorb that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I love these people that I have in my life. That's what makes us all wonderfully amazing. But I don't find value for myself in being able to get in there with you. My value that I've decided in these relationships is to help you do something with that. Not that there's anything wrong with being in that moment, but sometimes folks get stuck in that. So if you're like, hey, come swim in the shit pool with me, I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm going to be over here when you decide to get out. Or would you like help getting out? I can throw a rope. I can talk to you about how you feel inside the shit pool, but I'm going to be over here. That is definitely more my style. You can tell when I coach, I'm very direct, I'm very passionate, and I'll give you a hug and a pat on the back and oh, that sounds like a bummer. Now what? What would you like to do with this? That's very much me.
I like it. Good answer.
Okay. All right. Nicole and I want you to know that your mind was never designed to constantly consume without pause. It was designed to experience, process, reflect, and recover. And maybe that's the shift. Not becoming someone who escapes the modern world, but becoming someone who learns how to live inside of it without losing themselves in the noise. And if there's one thing we hope this entire series helped you understand, it's this. You are not failing because you feel overwhelmed. Your brain and nervous system may simply be overloaded, and awareness changes things. Because once you understand what's happening, you can start building differently, more intentionally, more clearly, more compassionately. So if this series resonated with you, share it with someone who's been feeling mentally exhausted lately, someone who's constantly consuming, constantly thinking, carrying too much mentally, because sometimes the first step toward clarity is realizing there's nothing wrong with you at all. You may just need a different relationship with attention, input, recovery, and noise. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Write your lines with passion.